Hi there, it's Rebecca on the Coaching Podcast, and welcome to today. As always, we have some inspiration and motivation here for you today. And if you love this, then please do head over to thesuccesstribe.co and register for our emails with super cool information and value straight to your inbox. Never miss a thing. Head over to the Facebook page, Rebecca Lockwood, The Success Tribe, and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday between 9 and 11 a.m. London time. Enjoy. Welcome, Danielle, to the podcast.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So welcome, Danielle. So Danielle is a high performance and business coach for female entrepreneurs. So I'll let you take over and explain to us what you do in your business.
Yeah, so I specifically work with females who have their own businesses, and I help them accelerate them, but by first working on themselves. So whereas a lot of business coaches just focus on the business side of it, with my healthcare background, I really feel that actually if you start on the personal development and the foundations are right with your health and happiness, that is actually one of the key things that helps you progress your business and move it on to the next level.
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? Would you say that
something gets overlooked so often.
Would you say it's like mindset work that you do then?
I do some mindset work, but what I tend to do is following my own journey and becoming a little bit burnt out. I really start working on the foundations first, and what I mean by the foundations is the actual health side of things. So I did my training as a chiropractor. So I've got a lot of understanding with that. And so I start with women, making sure that they're eating properly, they're exercising regularly, their sleep routines. So really like the basic stuff, but a lot of stuff that just people don't do. So we really start at that level. And then we go on to kind of like Tony Robbins famously said, part of running a successful business is 8% mindset, 20% skill. So we do go on to the mindset first. And then we start kind of implementing and looking at structures within the business, how they can systemize stuff. So it's almost like a 3-tiered process that I do with my clients.
Yeah, wow, that sounds so interesting. So I work a lot on mindset, and I met Tony Robbins at the beginning of the year at UPW. I absolutely love Tony. He was a massive inspiration in my career. I highly recommend UPW as well if you've not been. And one of the biggest things that he says is actually what you're saying, that health. If you have your health in the right place, then everything else will flow. Even more than mindset, he even says, because I don't need to tell you, do I? It all comes from there, doesn't it? If you feel good within yourself and you've got the energy, then you can.
And that's the thing, like. So my kind of tagline for my business is health, happiness, extraordinary success. And they're so interdependent. You really, it sounds really cliche, but health really is wealth. Can you really be truly successful if you're not happy or if you're not healthy? I personally believe that you can't. So that's kind of like where I come from with my coaching, and why it's not just business coaching, it's the high performance coaching, and it incorporates it all. To get to those next levels. So important. Tony's completely right with that.
Yeah, wow, yeah, completely agree. I know when I first started coaching, I thought to myself, well, I've got a background in business, I've got a background in sales. I was working in sales for 8 years, I was working in business for 3 years, and so I used to think, right, I'll be a business and sales coach. And when I started sitting down with my clients and doing the work with them, there was so much going on in their life that all needed addressing before we could even consider the business work.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
Yeah. So do you want to talk us through this 3-tier process then that you go through with your clients?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to. Okay. So a lot of my clients will kind of come to me, and almost like you say, what they think is the problem isn't normally the problem.
Yeah.
So when we start peeling it up, then normally you find naturally that the foundations aren't there. So in the first few sessions, we really kind of, first of all, ascertain what the goals are. So do a lot of goal setting to begin with. Like I feel like I can help them much better if I understand where they want to go, the direction and the journey that they want to take. So I do a lot of goal setting to start with, and then from there we peel it back and go into, like, say, the health, and I really kind of get them to assess where they are. A lot of my clients, and I was guilty of this too, was a lot of female entrepreneurs with the whole kind of 5-hour badge of honor. I only need 5 hours sleep, I can function on 5 hours. And the reality of it is you can't, and research has shown over and over again that to actually get your cognitive function at a level where you're working your best, you need at least 7. So I do a lot of work, particularly if I'm doing work with mums. They tend to be the ones who really struggle with the lack of sleep. So start really kind of on those foundations, drinking more. Even if you just have like a litre of water, like you're 14% more productive if you're hydrated. But more than that, like if you're not eating properly. So I used to be guilty of this. I'd be like so busy running my businesses, so obviously I've got background in business already, that I'd skip lunch. I'd be like, oh, I'm too busy to eat. And so I'd go for long periods without eating. And this is coming from a health professional. I knew that I should be eating, but sometimes just get carried away with things. And I didn't realise the effect that I was actually having on my work. So now I talk to my clients about eating every 2 to 3 hours, like to maintain their blood sugar levels so they don't kind of have the peaks and troughs that you tend to get a lot when you are skipping meals. So we start, and also what they're eating. Like I work really closely with a nutritionist who I've worked with personally, and now she does a lot of work with my clients too. Rosie Lex, she's really awesome. And from there, kind of work, making sure, so yeah, covering their eating, their sleeping, their drinking, and then making sure they're getting exercise in, whether it be getting out at lunchtime or doing a HIIT session before they start working, but making sure every single day they're moving somewhat. And it doesn't have to be like an exercise class, I don't mean it that way, but just actually there's so many women will just literally drive to work, go home, and they just have not moved their bodies. And not only does this lead to lots of back pain, but it just actually it just doesn't help your productivity. There's so much research, and Brendon Burchard's done a lot of research recently into what affects your productivity, and all these key health things, all these foundations are so important. And I strongly believe that if a lot of women come to me that their main problem is time management, they want more time, and I try and get over to them, or if they increase their productivity, they will have more time because they'll get more done in that space of time. And now with all the research coming in about productivity and how you can improve that, it really kind of cements what we do, and really kind of shows the importance of it, really starting at that base point. So once I've started that base point with the foundations, we'll then go on to including like energy levels, how to raise your energies, and also with the food. We'll then go on to things like almost like a calibrating where they are and where they want to be. And I use things like getting them to record little bits in a diary about where they are, what they've done, so that we can really check in with that wheel of life type stuff. That's always a really good idea, to work out where they are, and then just kind of start mapping their journey. And then I'll do some research things on time management, productivity, systemizing, where they can systemize in their business. Like systemizing is really key for me. Like I don't want anyone's business to completely rely on them. Like you have to start delegating and understanding where your weaknesses are so that you can delegate.
Yeah, systemizing and automation, my key and massive action. Have you read the E-Myth by, is it Michael Gerber? Richard?
No, I've not read that one.
Oh my gosh, you'll love it. It's my favourite business book. You will love it. Especially because the whole book is about how to systemize and automate in your business. And it's so well written. He's an amazing guy as well. He refers a lot to McDonald's and how everything's systemized and automated. And yeah, you'll love that book. Highly recommend it. So where did it all begin for you then? Like, where did this journey start?
Okay. So I went to university straight after completing my A-levels to be a chiropractor. So I did my training for that. And then, so got my first job, and then basically formed my chiropractic consulting business at the age of 22. So I was kind of going around lots of clinics, doing lots of consultations, etc. And from there, I kind of had this desire, right, I want to kind of have my own clinic as well, because at this point, my consulting business was working, kind of freelancing. So I really had the intentions to have my own clinic, supporting my husband's buying his, and was doing a bit of work for him. I was like, right, I want to do this for myself. So in 2014 or 15, I think it was 14 actually, I merged with a company called The Medical, and we do chiropractic, physiotherapy, osteopathy, private GP, travel clinics. So I built my business with them, alongside them, and from there, how that's kind of grown and watched my shareholdings and my profits really massively increase, which has been awesome. And then I decided that actually, in doing that, what had happened to me was that I'd kind of taken on a lot more than I should have done, as in I wasn't really working effectively. I was doing a lot more stuff that I should have been delegating, and really it was completely my own fault. I really took on a lot more, and I kind of came from this place like, the harder that I worked, the more successful I must be, and I really wanted to be successful. And so that kind of like pre-programmed me to working all the hours that I possibly could, working really inefficiently, because obviously if I was working hard and I was burning out, then I must be successful. And almost getting to the point where I felt, but also getting to the point where I felt guilty for having time off. It was crazy. I was like addicted to working.
Yeah, I completely resonate with that as well.
Yeah, like I just couldn't switch off. So I started on a bit of a self-development journey. Like started reading loads of non-fictional books and business books, and learning so many different new skills. I read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, which I would really recommend if you haven't read that. And it just really stood out to me that actually I didn't need to be, there was a better way to do things. And obviously because I manage people in my business here, I started going, well, okay, I'd learned a little bit about coaching, really got into the coaching side, so did a few courses, and was like, oh, hang on, this is really good, it's really helping me progress my business here. What if I brought the two together? What if I utilised my background in chiropractic? What if I utilised what I'd learned through self-development? And well, three things, right? And then did my coaching training. Where would that take me? And that kind of brought me to coaching female entrepreneurs. And the reason that I decided that I would like to work with female entrepreneurs is because that's who I was, and I feel like as women there's so much, we often fall into this trap of thinking that the harder we work the more successful we are, or not forgetting how to be present. It was a big thing for me. I was always getting a bit preoccupied in the moment. I was thinking, oh, I've got something else to do on my phone, particularly with social media these days as well. And so it really just took me on that journey about stop trying to do more and actually do what you do well already, and concentrate on how you can improve those things, become more efficient at those things, and recognizing what my strengths were and what my weaknesses were, and learning how to delegate better from there. So really I kind of ended up doing the coaching side of it because it was passion, and I realized that I wanted to help more women not to be in the position that I basically got myself into. And that there was a lot to be said for growing your business in a healthier way, and that it was possible. And actually my business has ever increased far more since I've worked less, which is really refreshing.
Yeah, and it is though, but it's crazy the things that we tell ourselves. So when I had my last business, I worked so much, and I worked overnight, and I worked every day. And I think I lived on about 3 hours sleep. And you do, don't you? You believe that because you're working hard, it'll make it work, and it just didn't work. And now I work probably 2.5 to 3 days a week, and I made more money than I ever made in that business so far in 6 months than I did in 3 years. It's crazy what we tell ourselves, and the routine and habit that we get ourselves into. So like, what would be the biggest tip that you'd give someone who found themselves in that situation?
Who found themselves in that situation? Really, it's a lot of it is starting with the basics. you, like we spoke about at the beginning, a lot of it is mindset, but actually to have a good mindset, you need to have those health foundations. So I'd really encourage people to start looking at what they're eating, start looking at how much they're moving, their work patterns, their life patterns, really. Don't get me wrong, like in any business, you have to work hard. I'm not saying that it is easy, but you can work more efficiently, and to really analyze where you are losing a lot of time. One of the things I found was that I would literally spend hours doing admin stuff, and I would sit on my computer with these tasks ahead of me, and I wouldn't have it written down what I was going to do. I'd kind of just know in my head what I was due to do. And what I now do is work completely differently, is I know what I'm doing, I know what my goals are, I know what my quarterly goals are, I know what my week's goals are, and I know what my day goals are. So a lot of my brain power, if you like, is not lost to thinking, oh, what's next? It's all written down, ready to go. And then I just work in an hour or 90-minute intervals. So if I've got anything non-clinical to do, I'll sit down for an hour, blast some stuff out, I know it's focused, and then I have a 20-minute break doing whatever I need to do, something where my mind is switched off. And if I'm working from home, that might be tidying around, something where I'm not thinking and giving my brain that chance to recover. Because it's a little bit like I see working now, if you kind of equate it to running, okay? So rather than, I used to run marathons, so I just had these huge tasks in front of me, and I just had to keep going, and it would be so difficult and so challenging to do, and I never really felt like I was getting anywhere. The miles just seemed to stretch out in front of me. Whereas now I choose to work in sprints, so I literally do like, okay, that's one task, I got an hour to do it, get it done. And I'm quite strict on that. And that's another thing that was massively opened my eyes, was about progression rather than perfectionism. And I think before I used to get pulled into that trap of being perfectionist, not letting go of things, whereas now I really try to make sure that it's done in the time frame I set, and if I'm 80% happy with it, it's done. It doesn't need to be 100%, because if I waited till everything was 100%, I wouldn't move forwards in my business at all. So that's one of the biggest things that I think has kind of changed for me.
Yeah, I love that. Perfectionism is the killer of so many people's dreams. Is it Les Brown that says that? He's an amazing speaker as well.
Yeah.
But gosh, yeah, like since I've just been throwing stuff out, I meant in the best way possible. Yeah, that's probably been the massive action that I've taken. So
yeah, and I think if you're 80% happy with it, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
That last 20% is not going to, particularly if we're talking business senses, that 20% is not going to make a massive difference. And I don't mean like you're saying like you still provide, you're still churning out good quality work. It's just when to actually say, right, this bit's done, I need to move on, because ultimately you become a better businesswoman and a bit better, have a lifestyle balance if you can make sure that you are moving things forwards rather than just getting stuck on the same things all the time.
Yeah. So what's been the biggest challenge for you then in your business so far?
Biggest challenge and one of the most enjoyable things, I think, really, is just learning new processes. So obviously with my chiropractic, have you read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks?
No, but someone has recommended it before.
Yeah, so that kind of, he talks about your excellence zone, your genius zone. And I think for so long I kind of sat in my excellence zone. It was like easy for me, easy to stay where I was, easy to bring in the money that I was. But I really feel like I've stepped up into my genius zone now. And what I mean by that is really kind of challenging myself, improving on myself, having a bigger impact in my own life but other people's lives. And I think that has really been one of the most rewarding but also challenging things. And because when you're going to a genius zone, it's about learning new techniques, trying new things, and evolving as a person. And I think that's an amazing thing, but also can be really challenging. You have to break down a lot of fears. It's easy to stay comfortable, but but like breaking down those fears is something that's can be quite difficult, and I've had to work quite hard on with my own coach, because I recognize how important having coaches are in business. So I've been lucky enough to work with 3. So I've done a lot of work with breaking down my own fears and pushing through those things, and I think that's, for me, the exploring new things has been one of the most challenging, but also one of the most rewarding things.
Yeah, definitely. I would completely agree as well. Releasing the fears and stepping up is the most challenging thing that anybody could ever do, because it's scary.
And I think one of the best things I've learned is about naming your fear, saying what you're scared of, because quite often you feel like you feel fearful, but you don't actually. If you name it and you kind of call it out, then it actually seems a lot less frightening.
Yeah.
Pen to paper and say what you're actually afraid of, because quite often they are quite irrational fears. So
completely. So you've recommended a few books then there that I've just wrote down: The Big Leap and The Compound Effect. What would be your go-to place if you were feeling like you needed some motivation, some inspiration? Is there a certain podcast or book or resource that you use?
Oh my God, I'm a massive book junkie. I actually did a post on Facebook last night because it's National Book Day, and I because I read and I listen, so I have audiobooks on my phone. So I listen in the car all the time. So I get through about a book every 10 days to 2 weeks. But also I love it for driving to work, putting something on. So my go-to books, I really liked Secret Mind of a Millionaire. That was a really good one.
I love that book.
That's kind of motivational. I really like that for a little bit about uplifting. You can do it type. Book. I really enjoy listening to Brené Brown. We're just talking about fears. One of my biggest fears is being vulnerable and putting myself out there, and she does a book called Daring Greatly, which is about actually vulnerability as a strength, not a weakness. And I think that's one of my biggest turning points, is actually, and that's really helped me, so trying to overcome my perfectionism, because actually perfectionism is really just you being really fearful about being out there. So what I really like listening to hers when I'm driving to work, but I'm not particularly, there are so many good authors out there. I don't particularly listen to I kind of, with podcasts, I'll pick up here, there and everywhere. So I listen to a lot of YouTube stuff. So I tend to watch more videos on YouTube than I do with podcasts, and then audiobooks as well. But podcast is quite new for me, so I'm definitely going to start listening to some more. Because my friends were telling me the other day actually about some pretty cool ones, so I think I'm going to get into that a bit more.
There's so many amazing ones. We could sit here and chat for hours about books and podcasts, honestly, and personal development. I love it. So what's next for you then?
What's next? Well, obviously in October I'm being featured in Forbes and Huffington Post. So excited. There's loads and loads of super cool developments on the horizon, one with the medical. So we are working with more chiropractors and physios and private GPs. So really looking forward to expanding that side of my business. And then also helping more female entrepreneurs grow theirs. So I'm going out to LA and San Diego in the end of September. So I'm going out to Brendan Bouchard's High Performance Academy to do some more training out there, and do some work with Nick Pigeon in LA, which is going to be super exciting. So some collaborations. And just supporting as many female entrepreneurs as I can. I'm really, really so passionate about helping them move their businesses forward, up-leveling their businesses, creating the lifestyles that they deserve. There's so many women out there who are just sitting on such incredible businesses, that aren't reaching their full potential, and just supporting them so that they can live the lifestyles that they want. Whatever that extraordinary success means to them, helping them achieve it. So yeah, I'm really, really excited with the book, How She Did It, coming out as well in October. So many awesome things on the horizon. So yeah, lots of things to watch this space. I'm just really concentrating on providing some more content as well. Like, I want to get out there a bit more, do these podcasts are absolutely awesome. Providing a few, I have an awesome daily performance sheet, which I've used with my clients. They're absolutely loving. So if you would like, actually, I'll release it to your listeners too.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I'll put that in there. I've just completed it this week, actually, so I'll pop that out, because it's something I've used for a long time. Has helped me kind of, because I've got different businesses, you have to be quite focused on what you do and have that kind of detail in what you're doing each day, and that's really helped me. And I've put kind of aspects on it, like making sure you're doing your morning routine and your food and your exercise. So there's all different spaces for that, not just work. Bit about emails and who you're contacting. So there's a few bits on there which I'm quite happy to share.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. So where can someone find out more about you or contact you if they want any more information about working with you?
So you can find me at www.daniellecanty.com, so on my website. And then I'm also on Facebook. And so you find my business page at Danielle Canty High Performance. That's on there too. And I've also got a Facebook group called She's at Her Best High Performance for Women. So you can come and chat to me on there, make contact, or private message me. I love to hear from women slaying it in business. So it would be really cool to for your listeners to reach out.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's been amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I loved it.
As always, this is Rebecca on the Coaching Podcast, and I want you to think about, how can you be the best version of yourself today? You are the only person you need to be in competition with. And remember, the time is now. Yes, you can. Have an amazing day. I love you all, and I hope to see you live with me over on the Facebook page every Monday, Wednesday and Friday between 9 and 11 a.m. London time. Enjoy the rest of your day.